Back in the year 1998, I was single for the first time in 8 years and began to talk to some people from my hometown because I had moved back from Centerville, Ohio, and left my job at Emerald Marketing. Uh, I talked a little bit to my friend, the mayor, Charlie Sanders, about an easement to be made on State Route 42 near the BP station. And he asked me to be the vice mayor of Waynesville. And I told him that I couldn't because I was starting a new family. And as I did, we sort of drifted apart because I moved back to Centerville. And then about a year later, I came back and worked at the Miami Cemetery after interviewing with Charles Morgan and the board and taking care of the cemetery from 2000 to 2003, and was able to have an insight to something going on, and I wasn't really privy to all the information, or I would have got involved. Uh, I was surrounded by conservatives in my little circle that were pushing for the mayor to resign. And I did not know these facts because I was out working every day and it wasn't discussed with me, possibly because they knew I was his friend. The position opening up on the city council was opening up for a man who would become mayor and sit for 20 years in the mayor's position. There was information that I had at the time that I could have come forth with had I have known that he was facing such scrutiny from these conservatives out of Rob Portman's camp. And what I mean by that is out of the Elks in Lebanon and other little meeting spots for these conservatives. And what I would have done is I would have supported him in whatever endeavor he chose, which is what I'm going to do now in asking some tough questions of the justice system located in Lebanon and touch on some of the issues that they had when it came to a judge who went through the media cycle for some inappropriate hiring practices and some misogynism, and ended up in the 11th Appellate Court overseeing cases down here in Warren County. Some of the people that he appointed were the ones riding around with giant signs in the back of the trucks saying, please elect this person to city council, so that these people could maneuver politically and get their family member into office, which they did. And then my friend went on to run against Rob Portman to try to stop this outlandish conservative effort to hide things like financial records of institutions that I may have been associated with and may have information on that could have been used during that campaign to sort of bring some light into why auditors are so important, especially when it comes to the ones located here in Waynesville, Ohio. There has been an overlooked campaign on donations and efforts put in to build walls long enough by these conservatives here in Warren County. And what I'd like to ask is, if we could go back to the year 1999 and take a look at one of the biggest drug operations in the history of Warren County, if not Ohio, involving Bobby from Franklin, whose offense for the White People's Club ran by Mr. Mikey. And I've got so much insider information on these motorcycle clubs and these Klansmen that it's pathetic. But I think we should start out by looking at the times served by the former AK Steel worker, We should ask Dave Enright if he knows how much time was handed out. And we should also take a look at some other crimes in the area involving Walmart and one of the largest racketeering campaigns that you've ever seen out of Franklin, Ohio. We had a local man riding around selling stolen TVs and credit cards from this racketeering campaign in a U-Haul, which there's records of, I'm sure, back around 2013, 2014. And we could bring some real light on the problems with drug activity, not only here in Waynesville, Ohio, but in Warren County in general, and how they get overlooked because of associations with some of their religious faction due to their work and efforts in the campaigns, voting, and other areas. You'll notice that Donald Trump has instituted a new policy when it comes to absentee ballots, where they're handed out in jail, so that we can now have prisoners vote in jail and make all the good decisions that they would make when it comes to these camps, like have been cited on CNN, of the Oath Keepers, Ku Klux Klan, and other members of these secret societies that are touched on in the Bible that I'm sure Vice President Pence wouldn't mind to tell you about. We can take a look at things from the inside out, draw our own conclusions, if we could just get David Yost down here to do it.